Tonight on Cronkite News, the new push to change the way primaries are held here in Arizona and the implications it could have on this year's election.
And a call from police officers and the county attorney to keep the Department of Justice out of Phoenix PD. Plus, the Phoenix Suns welcome the new draftees to the Valley at Player 15 headquarters.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Iman Abraham.
And I'm Taylor Mazok. Thank you for joining us.
About 1 in 3 voters in Arizona don't belong to a political party. That means they can't vote in presidential primaries.
A new measure that would change how Arizonans vote is likely to appear on the ballot in November. Make Elections Fair aims to abolish semi-closed primaries in the state. And as Aoife Kane reports, the campaign says they have enough signatures to qualify for the ballot in November.
This ballot initiative would open primary elections to all voters, regardless of party affiliation. According to a new study from ASU, 4 out of 5 Gen Z voters in Arizona feel that the 2 major parties don't represent them. A study across all age demographics last year showed similar signs.
80% of all voters in Arizona supported nonpartisan primaries, right? Which is significantly high. And that was across Republicans, Democrats, and independents. Overwhelmingly, felt you shouldn't have to join a party to vote.
Independents can vote in primaries for US Congress and the legislature. The new system would be very different. If the ballot measure passes, the top Dem and top Republican won't necessarily face off in the general elections, though it's up to the legislature to sort out the details.
What form of nonpartisan primary should be adopted? Should it be a top 2? Should it be a top 3? Should it be a top 5? Whatever, kicks it to the legislature, which of course is controlled by the parties.
The campaign, which includes former Phoenix Mayor Paul Johnson, says Arizona Republicans have filed as an organization opposed to the initiative.
There's all kinds of legal, constitutional, legislative barriers that keep the status quo firmly protected from efforts to change it.
But how do independent voters in the state feel about this idea?
And the idea that everyone can participate in shaping our political culture and who our leaders are. And so it seems like a no-brainer to me.
With more than 500,000 signatures collected, the campaign is now turning its focus to ensuring the initiative gets passed.
We're trying to have every voter treated the same and every candidate treated the same. So that'll be our messaging. We'll get those signage up for brand awareness on what our issue is.
The Republican and Democratic parties in Arizona did not comment before the time of this broadcast, but Arizona's Democratic Senator Mark Kelly said that he supports anything that strengthens democracy in the state and that the implementation of the initiative also matters. In Washington, Aoife Kane, Cronkite News.
Make Elections Fair will be filing its initiative on July 3rd at noon. If passed, it would go into effect in November 2025, influencing the U.S. House elections in 2026.
Arizona's primary election is in a little less than a month away, and the equipment that will be used in that primary was just tested. Officials with Maricopa County Elections tested the equipment on Tuesday. They're checking it for accuracy to make sure everything runs smoothly on primary day, which will be held on July 30th. The entire process was to open to the public and also streamed online.
If you're heading out of town to beat the heat or an independent voter, you might be asking yourself, how can I vote in the July 30th primary election? Maricopa County residents can make a one-time ballot request if they fit certain criteria. So if you're a registered voter and plan to be out of town during the primary election, here are some things you need to know. You can request a ballot to be sent to the address you are located at. This includes anywhere from grandma's house to your cabin in the woods. This one-time request will not change your voter registration status for November's general election. Something to remember is the post office will not forward any official election mail to your temporary address. And next, if you're an independent or non-party voter, you can still vote and choose from one of these 3 ballots: Republican, Democrat, and then non-partisan local issues ballots. This request will not change your voting status for November's election. Additionally, nonpartisan local issues ballots are available throughout Maricopa County, except in Phoenix and Tempe. Make sure to check out this list on the Maricopa County Elections website to see if you can get one of these ballots. Lastly, the last day to request a ballot is July 19th. Make sure you leave enough time to mail the ballot back for it to arrive by Election Day on July 30th at 7 p.m. And for more information on the one-time ballot request, visit elections.maricopa.gov.
Arizona summers can be brutal, which is true for many other parts of the U.S. And President Joe Biden has announced new rules aimed at keeping people who have to work in the heat safe. His administration has unveiled the first federal safety standard for excessive heat in the workplace. The new rule from the Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration requires employers to identify heat hazards. It is expected to cover some 35 million workers, and it won't be finalized until at least 2026.
And new numbers show illegal crossings across the U.S.-Mexico border have fallen to a 3-year low. According to Homeland Security, 84,000 migrants were apprehended last month at the southern border, the lowest since January 2021. June was also the 4th month in a row to see a decline in crossings.
Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell responded to Department of Justice report on the Phoenix Police Department. Regan Gallo was at the press conference where Mitchell appeared alongside Phoenix police officers.
The message from County Attorney Mitchell and Justin Harris, president of the Arizona Police Association, is that the DOJ does not understand the local needs of the Phoenix community. They only want to point fingers.
This isn't about making communities safer. This isn't about making cities safer or people feeling safer. This is about the Department of Justice's backdoor attempt to federalize law enforcement.
Specifically, they do not want the department to enter into a consent decree, which would give power over Phoenix police to federal authorities, which they believe will increase violent crime and hurt retention and recruitment. County Attorney Rachel Mitchell said the Department of Justice ignored positive reports.
Even though the city spent 3 years and millions of dollars providing DOJ with everything they asked for, the DOJ instead focused on a precious few cases. But the DOJ's report overlooked thousands of cases in which our police officers did the right thing.
Harris and Mitchell are urging the city of Phoenix to not back down. The City of Phoenix Council met on June 25th for an executive session to discuss their response to the DOJ findings, but they still have not publicly commented. However, an interview with Arizona's Family, Mayor Kate Gallego said the city wants to hear where they can improve. They will hold listening sessions for the community before any final decisions are made about the consent decree. Regan Gallo.
As we head into the holiday weekend, the Arizona Game and Fish Department prepares for increased traffic at the state's waterways. The department aims to reduce alcohol-related accidents with Operation Dry Water, a national awareness and enforcement campaign. In last year's campaign, around 500 local, state, and federal agencies made 717 arrests nationwide for boating under the influence.
If you're not heading to the lake on the 4th of July, there's plenty to do here in the Valley.
We'll tell you about one of the biggest fireworks celebrations in town. Plus, find out why blood donations are needed now more than ever after this quick break.
And we're just days away from the 4th. So how is it gonna be? If you're by the pool, your full forecast is next.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
There will be many fireworks shows around the valley this 4th of July, but one of the biggest will be in Tempe.
That's right. The annual Tempe 4th of July celebration is returning to Tempe Beach Park. This year's celebration will feature lots of food, entertainment, and of course, fireworks. There will even be an F-35 flyover by the U.S. Air Force. The 73rd annual Tempe 4th of July celebration kicks off at 4 p.m.
But the Tonto National Forest is reminding folks up north that fireworks will not be allowed on National Forest land this holiday. Fireworks are always prohibited, and right now the Tonto National Forest is under Stage 1 fire restrictions. So that also means campfires are banned outdoors.
And while you're enjoying the pool parties and the fireworks, you might want to think about giving back by giving blood. Blood donations are urgently needed, especially as we enter the holiday week, which is traditionally the lowest week of the summer for blood donations. With people going on vacation and a shortened work week, this means donors aren't donating. Sue Thu from Vitalant Donation Center in Tempe tells us that the need for blood does not stop.
During holiday weeks, blood donations drop even further by as much as 25%. But during that time, there's heavier traffic on the roads and highways. There's a greater potential for accidents and the need for blood. So at a time when blood usage could be at its highest, donations are at some of their lowest rates. A couple interesting facts.
The Week of Independence Day organizations like Vitalant are hosting large donation events to help get people in chairs. The Saving Arizona Blood Drive this weekend at the Tempe Center for the Arts is the company's largest donation effort. It runs Sunday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's been very hot across the valley, but what can we expect for the 4th of July?
Regan Gallo is back now with our 4th of July forecast.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Regan Gallo at the Cronkite Weather Center. Let's look at this evening's forecast. So it's going to be hot at 6 p.m., 111 still, and all the way to 10 p.m., still 103 and still in those triple digits. So we're going to feel the heat throughout the rest of the week, too. For tomorrow, as you're getting over to work, it's going to be 70 in Tombstone, Tucson 80, Phoenix 89. It's going to be pretty hot. Grand Canyon is 46. Let's see, Window Rock 51, and all the way in Lake Havasu for a high of 91. Sedona is not looking too bad with 72 in the morning. For our highs for tomorrow, we got Bullhead City all the way over here, 117, 113 for the high in Phoenix, Grand Canyon 92, Sedona 99, and 103 in Tucson. And so let's look at our 8-day forecast, especially for 4th of July. Okay, 114 on Thursday. That is going to be a hot 4th of July, especially if you're outside spending time with family, getting the grill going, doing the barbecue. I really recommend staying inside as much as possible until those late hours when it finally cools down. 115 for Friday, and for the rest of the week, we're going to see those 115s. We're inching towards that 119 like last July. So 116 is our high for the week, and then Wednesday it comes back down only to 114. That's all I have for you folks. This is Regan Gallo in the Cronkite Weather Center. Have a good evening and stay cool.
Hurricane Beryl is now a Category 5, which makes it the earliest Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic on record. Beryl is churning in the Caribbean Sea. Forecasters predict it will impact Haiti and the Dominican Republic on Tuesday and eventually make its way to Mexico. Experts say record warm waters in the Atlantic are fueling Hurricane Beryl. Coming up next, an ASU running back who cuts hair for his teammates and even his coach.
The running back held an event this past weekend where kids could get their hair cut free of charge.
I don't forget where I'm from. I don't forget the people that supported me my whole football career, my whole life. So I just want to get back to those same type of people.
It was the second annual Cutback Give Back haircut event as running back DeCarlos Brooks found a way to give back to his home state.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X @CutASU.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Welcome back. I'm Jack Bartlett with your Cronkite Sports Report. The Suns' offseason picture is just about complete as the team is expected to sign point guard Colin Gillespie on a two-way contract. Gillespie, who last played for the Nuggets, brings depth for the Suns at that position. This signing comes after the Suns created some depth in the front court as they moved assigned veteran center Mason Plumlee to a one-year deal. Plumlee spent the last year playing with the Clippers, averaging about 5 points and rebounds per game. And earlier today, the Suns unveiled their new draftees to the media. The two players were also added to the team's Summer League rosters, and we now head over to the Player 15 headquarters where Cronkite Sports reporter Marco Radici-Moras has more on the newest Suns players.
Phoenix Suns introduced their 2024 NBA draft picks today. Ryan Dunn, out of Virginia, picked 28th overall, and Arizona local Oso Ighodaro picked at number 40. General Manager James Jones made no secret that these players are exactly what the team were looking for.
As we went into the draft, we had two objectives. Can we get younger, more athletic, more dynamic, but more importantly, could we increase the competitive nature of our team? And it was evident quickly that these two guys fit the bill.
I think I did a really good workout in Phoenix. I showed a lot to Coach Jones and the whole staff. So I'm forever thankful for guys taking the opportunity on me to come and show what I can do and improve to starting here in Phoenix.
Ighodaro is familiar to the Valley, having played high school ball at Desert Vista in Phoenix. But it's his time playing college ball at Marquette, which he feels has helped him prepare for the NBA.
I think my playmaking and my ball skills will be really good for this team as a connector. All the scoring that is on this team, I think that someone like me that can kind of fill those gaps in between can be really effective. So I think that I'll lean on my experience at Marquette and try to bring that here for sure.
Despite his local ties, Oso also revealed that he grew up admiring LeBron James. Now the newest Phoenix Sun has the chance to face his idol in the NBA. Here at Player 15 headquarters, I'm Marco Radici-Moras for Cronkite News.
The Suns will evaluate all the new talent as they head to the Summer League late next week in Las Vegas. And there are several Olympians with ties to the Valley heading to Paris in a couple of weeks to compete in the 2024 Summer Games. Sunday saw Phoenix product Jade Carey make her second Olympic gymnastics team, and Flagstaff Nikki Hills won the 1500 meters to make the Olympic track and field team, just to name a few. And how about this? A teenage sprinting sensation is set to become the youngest ever U.S. male track Olympian. 16-year-old Quincy Wilson announced on social media that he will compete in the 4x400 meter relay roster at the Olympic Games in Paris. This comes after a brilliant debut at the U.S. Olympic trials. The Summer Olympics starts July 26th. And summer is a season where people not only want to stay cool, but also look cool. A local ASU running back found a way to help kids in the area stay in style. Cronkite News reporter Katrina Villarreal has more on Cutback Give Back.
A hot Sunday afternoon, kids gathered at Arizona Barber Academy for a free haircut thanks to Arizona State University's running back, DeCarlos Brooks. Brooks hosted his second annual Cutback Give Back haircut event, where kids had the chance to get their haircut with no charge. Brooks said that he wanted to find a unique way to give back to his community.
I could have done a football camp, or I could have done something related to football, but, I just want to showcase, my talents and just the character and person I am, and what other better ways cutting hair. I've been cutting hair for about 4 years now, so I thought it was a great idea.
Brooks began cutting hair at the time of COVID-19. He grew an interest for it and decided to use it as a way to give back. Brooks and Arizona Barber Academy owner Hillary Allegre began their partnership for Cutback Give Back last year through a mutual friend.
He was one of my instructor students, and he'd asked him to do an event, and because he was coming here, he said, "Can we host it here in your school?" And I said, "Yeah." So we changed the event to here.
Arizona native and ASU alum Glenn Robinson said the event was a good way for Brooks to give back to his home state.
He's a kid that moved away from his community, and he came back, and he's willing to give back to his community.
Brooks is from Chandler, Arizona, and originally started his football career at the University of California. He transferred to ASU in 2023. Brooks said that it means everything to him to give back to the state he grew up in.
I don't forget where I'm from. I don't forget the people that supported me my whole football career, my whole life. So I just want to give back to those same type of people. And I know how I felt as a kid. I just want to give those kids that same feeling.
In Tempe, Katrina Villarreal, Cronkite News.
Brooks says when his playing days are over, he'd like to open his own barber shop one day. And that's it for us tonight on For the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Jack Bartlett. Now back to Iman and Taylor.
Thanks, Jack. Coming up next, a piece of presidential history had been missing for nearly 4 decades.
But now it's right back with its rightful owner. After the break, more about the curious history of Teddy Roosevelt's watch and who returned it.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Pales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Welcome back. Tesla sales are down once again, nearly 5% from this time a year ago.
Sales for the second quarter came in at just over 400,000. But sales were still stronger than some analysts predicted. But it was enough to beat out Chinese automaker BYD to retain the top position in global sales of electric vehicles.
Now for one last thing before we go.
After nearly 4 decades, a watch once owned by Teddy Roosevelt has been returned. The watch was stolen in 1987, but according to the FBI, it was given to Roosevelt by his family in 1898, before he left for Cuba during the Spanish-American War. It turned up at an auction house last year and was listed for sale for $500,000, but the auctioneer eventually pulled it off the market and returned it to the former home of Roosevelt.
That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Iman Abraham.
And I'm Taylor Mazok. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.